Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I have Psyfiend for you. The conversation today goes into a couple of directions, so if you are in a hurry, then I would recommend that you use the timestamps and skip around as you like. Also, there are a couple of sensitive topics in the discussion, so I would please urge you, if you feel like you are in danger of any kind, then do not hesitate to seek help. And with that, as usual, I'll give you a sample from his portfolio and then we'll jump right into the conversation. So I hope you enjoy and I'll see you on the other end. Bye-bye. Hi,
All right, hello. Can you hear
can you
me?
hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Been a tight day today. Yeah, work kind of jumped on me today, so had to drive about an hour away.
You're working on a Saturday?
Yeah, I own my own business with computer repair.
Ah, I see. Okay. So what am I calling you for the call?
You can just call me Scott.
Okay, nice to meet you, Scott.
Nice to meet you too. I've definitely been on your YouTube channel a couple of times.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first conversation we are having, so I'm going to go wild on my questions.
Oh, yeah, perfect. That's fine with me. I'm an open book.
Good, good. So, walk me through how you even got into heavy music. Was it always something you listened to, or something that happened much later in your life?
It definitely happened much later in my life. I think I definitely was introduced to it at an early age, or at not age, but like at an early start. I think I ran into a guy named Slinger,
Hmm.
spelled Slynger. He's like a French artist that made some. Back then, I would do air quotes heavy music for then, like because that was back when 2012, 13. This was
Right.
unheard of, especially unheard of. And I definitely heard it, but I was sticking with like the modern style of dubstep. Um, and then I ran into like Code Pandorum,
Ah.
um, 187 dubstep. Uh, I started getting into them, and I was kind of like, wow, this style is so much more attracting than all the others for some reason. It's intricate. Then I started really getting deep into it, running into Automize and the people from Plagueborn. Harsh
Hmm.
was a big influence in my life.
So you instantly got
Yeah,
into the Minotaur's depths.
yeah, yeah. But I wasn't making it myself. Like I was like dabbling with it. I had FL Studio. It's my DAW that I use, and like
Mm.
I tried and I tried and I tried, and I couldn't get my own sound design. It's just like it doesn't sound right. So I mean, I tried for years. I went under a couple different names. I started out as Duelist, and then I switched over to Misery,
Mhm.
and then I shared that name too much with others. So that's when I brainstormed Psyfiend, and it is kind of hard to change your name, but I feel like it picked up pretty easy.
I mean, it's not hard. I think it's tricky when you become a little bit bigger, that is.
But yeah, yeah. Um, I wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily call myself pretty big, but you know, yeah, but definitely people did know, my sound design and stuff. So around that time, so I thought it was a pretty good time to change my name because, you know, uh, I feel like I did have my own style.
Mhm.
I do like to make melodies with harps, pianos, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and try to weave them in with like a really harsh basses and stuff. And it is kind of hard to mix.
Yeah.
Some of us do it. Ruined does it as well. I follow him a lot. Just I feel like the style kind of just fell off, if you know what I mean.
I know what you
Um,
mean.
and it kind of saddens me because it just I really would have liked to see how this would have twisted into. Yeah, I'm kind of getting off track there, but
That's okay. I think one other thing, I understand what you mean by it fell off, and I have similar feelings because I don't know, Minotaur used to feel fresh and personal, and now it sounds more fabricated. There are sure artists who are making good stuff, but it still feels somewhat fabricated.
and the problem I'm going with is, I mean, I haven't made a song for a while. I might put out some clips here and there.
Mm.
Uh, I do have a collab in the works with Wide Eyes.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
that's coming out on his album this year. And then I've started some projects, but my problem is like everybody knows me because of Lullaby.
I know, right?
I can't. I'm like, dude, this isn't better than Lullaby, and I get stuck in that. I'm like, I can't make something better than it.
Hmm.
I try to branch off in other genres and stuff like that. Yeah, they get a little bit of pull, but I don't know. It's just I feel like I get stuck in that loop where I'm like, oh yeah, this is sounding good. The next day I come back to the project and I'm like, ugh, you know, I just can't beat it.
So your standard is kind of set by Lullaby.
Yeah, I really wish it wasn't, but that's just how my brain works. It's just I try to make the song better than my previous ones,
Mhm.
which I shouldn't do. I should make music for myself, and that's how it was at first until I started getting people, Psyfiend, it's weird. People love me, like not a whole bunch, but like there's a few who are diehard fans, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
whoa, like there's people out there that actually love my music.
So that blows your mind.
Yeah, I never would have thought I would have got to that point ever. And I try to tell the smaller artists like, just keep trying. Someday you'll make that break. And I mean, there's a lot of small artists out there who are just like underrated. Um,
Extremely underrated, yeah.
I always bring up Schizodia. I don't know if you ran into him
I
before,
have not.
but he actually makes music on his phone and it is actually good. Like
Oh,
I don't know how he does it, but he does it.
I only know one person who does it on phone, and he was from Singapore. I don't remember the exact name.
Um, I don't know if you seen in recent news with me that kind of really put a stale taste in my mouth is my recent song Dismantled that I worked on for a year was stolen from me.
Oh, what happened?
Long story short, I usually try to make my songs when I'm upset about things. That's when I mostly have the focus on it. And me and my ex-fiance of 5 years split up, and I started subsiding in college. I was kind of in a dark place, so I started a song called Dismantled.
Ah, I've
Now,
heard that now. I remember.
yeah, yeah, it's very rated R. Now,
The
it's not
lyrics,
something I
yeah.
yeah, now it's very rated R, but I would never ever do that in real life. It's just kind of like a idea in my mind,
Mm.
um, and it's just kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a scare factor, just kind of adds on to it. Just like, holy crap, this is disturbing, you
Yeah.
know. But it's just kind of like you want to stop, you want to look away from it, but you want to keep looking. It's kind of like that. Um, that I actually made that a free download, um, and somebody downloaded it. I'm not gonna say their name because I don't want to put them on blast or anything,
Mhm.
but they downloaded it and sent it to a label, and they
Saying that
copyrighted
they
it.
made it.
Yeah, The label copyrighted it. I stopped it before they distributed it, but I still have not got the rights back. I have fought for it for months every day in
Oh,
March, and I just gave up on it. I kept emailing them every day, messaging every day, "Give me my rights back." I gave them all
the
the
proof
evidence
that, yeah.
possible. Yeah, this is my project. I even cut the bass, like I muted everything, like so it wasn't like a WAV file down in there somewhere. You know, I
Hmm.
said, you know, here I even isolated the bass, I isolated the China, I isolated the kicks. You know, I gave them all that. You know, this is mine. You know, the kid finally came out and told them, you know, I stole this, and he apologized, but he did not apologize to me. So it was very heartbreaking to me.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
why would anybody do that? That baffles me.
people say, you know, you should take that as like a form of uh, compliment, sort of.
I know,
And
sure. I mean, that probably is the optimistic way of looking at it, but it still is kind of nasty.
yeah, it's just like, dude, I worked on that for a year. Like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but I mean, like, I started that project like that year prior, 2020, in like June, and
Hmm.
like I released it like I don't know, somewhere in March or something, so close to a year from time to time, and I don't know, it was just kind of like, wow, it got stripped from me that quick. Like I noticed it because I got an email from SoundCloud saying that my one of my songs were copyright. I got a copyright strike, and I was like, huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I talked to the label guy. He was pretty he apologized to me a lot, and but I still never got my rights back.
I mean, it wasn't his fault, I guess, because he couldn't know.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, but the person who stole my song, if you heard his prior music, there's no way he skipped that sound design so fast. And I gave Dismantled to um oh, why am I forgetting their name? He's one of my friends. He's gonna be mad that I forgot his YouTube channel. Let's see here.
You know, ironically, Dismantle got dismantled.
Yeah, you're right. It's actually a funny joke.
Yeah.
But I gave it to Hydraulic Damnation.
Oh, okay, Angel, yeah.
I gave it to Angel and gave it to an exclusive, you know, there, because I was like, hey man, like you guys uploaded Psyfiend or I'm sorry, Lullaby and Unworthy, and then they actually
Hmm.
did some pretty good pulls on there, and you know, it'd be nice to have on there. I really like seeing the comments and stuff. It, you know, it pulls me out of some things. You know, if I'm having like a sad day or something, it's just nice hearing it.
Hmm. Some of the comments I read under Dismantle on SoundCloud was, dude, you're nuts.
Or yeah, yeah, that was the clip actually
Yeah.
that I had up there for a while.
Where is the situation now? Is it still you're fighting for the copyrights or you gave up?
I I just gave up. I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna fight this no more because there was a language barrier. The label was Spanish.
Hmm.
It was based out of Mexico, and there was a really hard language barrier. Um, and I just like, you know what, screw it. And then I contacted Angel, and
Hmm.
I was happy with that. You know, just an
Yeah.
exclusive on YouTube. Um, there are some people who downloaded it, I think like 30 or 40 before it got taken down. So, but I probably won't do that in the future no more, where I'm gonna do free downloads because that just kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, it
Uh,
totally did. What would you change, say, for a future song to protect yourself from situations like this?
I mean, SoundCloud does have their own copyright, uh, like claims that you can do when you first upload your stuff,
Hmm.
for like to protect you from that. I've never used it. I just never thought that would happen to me. I mean, I never thought I'd get, I'm doing air quotes, that big to where somebody would wanna steal my stuff like that. And that's where people saying, "Oh, you should take it as a compliment," comes into play, but I do and I don't feel like that. I do and I don't feel it. Like, yeah, it's cool that you wanted to, you know, sound like me, man, but, like, that hurts.
And it's easier said than done. Also, what do you think about producer tags? Will that help in any sense?
What is it?
Producer tags. Usually people put in like a audio signature of some sort in the beginning or the end.
Yeah. The watermarks.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, and I think this it's just the same answer. Like I just thought that that would never happen, and I like to try to keep my songs clean,
Hmm.
just out of nothing out of the ordinary. And I mean, I guess that's kind of why like higher producers do that a lot. Like Midnight Tyrannosaurus does it all the time in a lot of
Hmm.
his
Hmm.
songs. Um, and I mean, I guess there's definitely logic behind it, but I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to start having to adapt to have that not happen again.
Right. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of work. Producing stuff is just not easy, you know. You don't do it, the ideas don't come, the production takes hours, then the mixing takes hours. Not hours, days, I would say. And after that, no matter how much of a compliment it is, it's bad when that happens. I mean, I would be mad.
Oh, I was devastated. I was trying to figure out why. It was also what was even more confusing is it was saying the wrong producer, the wrong artist took my song.
The wrong artist.
And yeah, and like I messaged him and I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you stealing my stuff? And he's like, huh? I didn't. And he really didn't. It was actually somebody else.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
I put a whole public, announcement on my personal Facebook, not
Hmm.
my Psyfiend account or anything about it, because I really felt like people should know what's going on, and it kind of almost took me out of the loop of making music. I mean, I don't have time for it mostly anymore. I moved. I live in the bigger city now, and I work for the government. I do IT for the government now.
Hmm.
I mean, I work from home, but it's just like I'm on my computer all day, so like I just not. I mean, I literally take like a 2 hour nap after work, pretty much. I just,
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it. I just want to take 2 hour nap and maybe play a couple of games and then probably go to sleep. I just don't have I don't have the will for it anymore. But don't get me wrong. I'm still making some. It's just a slow process.
Yeah, I understand. I work in IT too. It can be exhausting.
Oh yeah. End users are my favorite.
Let's not talk about users.
Right. Yep.
There are all kinds of
Uh,
stories about that.
oh, so do I.
I understand all of that. And let's forget about the bad tasting stuff. And I think I'll get you back to the conversation. Let's see. Do you remember when, in the beginning, you started making stuff which you weren't happy with, the beginner stage of producing, and then your music it started getting recognized by people? Do you remember how that happened? Was it gradual or was it like a one night hit?
It was almost in between. Now I gotta go to my account here and kind of go down a little bit. I can't
Mhm.
remember exactly which track it was, but I think it was back when I was Misery
Yeah,
and Massacre came out.
I think it
Uh,
was 4 years, something on that line, when it started getting some traction.
yeah, yeah, it was definitely Massacre when I started getting
Massacre is
recognized.
really good.
Yeah, I got some positive and negative comments about that because the audio was ripped out of the news report for Columbine, which was the Columbine massacre, which was
Hmm.
a school shooting,
Hmm.
and like I didn't think I was just being innocent about it. I just ripped it out of there. I don't know. It was more of like a chain gunny type song. It was just machine gun bass and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh, this fits kind of. And but then people started being like, dude, that was kind of over the line. So that came out, I think just before it, I made a song called Misery Birthday Song. It was
Yes, I heard
um
that.
for my ex-fiance.
Mhm.
I think just like our second year dating or something like that. She wanted me to make something for her. Now,
Mhm.
looking back, I had no sub bass in it, so it's kind of horrible sounding, but I actually got messaged by Foreign and Swine. They're friends. Swine hasn't been making music. I think he kind of went out of the loop, but Foreign's definitely making some
Mhm.
plays if you know who Foreign
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And
I know both.
uh yeah, I love them both. They're the reason why I'm here, seriously. Um when I made that song, Foreign messaged me and like praised me for it, and
Mhm.
so did Swine. and they got me in a Skype call because this is back before Discord came out, and we all became friends, and they just kind of encouraged me to keep doing it. And I was like, okay, cool, like people actually like it. I need to keep doing this.
And not just
Yeah,
random people, people like these guys.
yeah, yeah. Like Swine was pretty. I mean, he didn't have that many followers, but I definitely liked his music, and I mean, he definitely had a lot of plays.
Hmm.
Um, and then Foreign, he's definitely good. I mean, he definitely gets a lot of pull, and he's definitely making some plays right now. And that's when I ran into Suro,
Hmm.
who is now Pyre at the
Yeah.
moment, who's Feast for Crows. I
He
love
changed
I
his
love
name so many times.
I love Ivan so much though. I love his music. I listen to his music almost daily.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we made me, Suro, which Pyre, and Swinerot made a three-way collab called The One Who Whispers. And that I feel like is what brought people into me because Suro at the time was bringing in a lot of people as well. So I mean, I got to thank Pyre, well, Ivan for that as well. But it started getting me to where I need to start focusing my sound design and like making some things and trying different things. Um, so then I made a remix of one of my friends' songs, Kill Rex.
Hmm. Yeah.
He used to be Prosecutioner. He was a duo.
Yes, I've heard that.
Uh, yeah, and Kill Rex, I'm still friends with him to this day. We play games almost weekly,
Hmm.
and I start bringing in more people from that. But I would have, long story short, I'm sorry I went too far with this.
That's
Is
okay.
when Massacre came out is when I single-handedly started bringing people in.
Another
Yeah,
ironic
that's
story
how.
when you do massacre.
Right.
And one thing about your music, I mean, I think you mentioned Lullaby before, and funny story, I remember you because of Lullaby.
Yeah, it definitely that's like, what actually grabbed people for some
Yeah.
reason. And that was when I actually feel like I got that minatory sound design of myself.
Hmm.
I switched to Serum, and I do gotta admit, I went on YouTube and I was like checking out tutorials and stuff like that. It's not bad to do that, you know. And I mean, I found some people. There was somebody who's like, this is like how my sound design, and like I built my own off from him. Now it wasn't like an FOP that they were giving out or anything. It was the actual tutorial,
Right, right.
and um, I found something that I felt like was me, you know, because like I don't want to steal anything from anybody. I feel like it's not fair,
Hmm.
especially when it's been done to you,
Yeah.
and a lot of people ask me like what like VSTs do I use and stuff like that. Well, my favorite go-tos are like Serum.
Hmm.
I like Wow Filter.
Hmm.
Uh, but I use Dimension Expander, and then just like the regular like the EQ2s.
Yeah.
I'm definitely missing one for some reason, but
You can message that to me. I will put that in the description. That's okay.
yeah, and
From the sounds of it, looks like you found the unshitty tutorials on YouTube because a lot of people say that when they started producing, it was probably sometime in the phase of 2013, 2014, and not a lot of YouTube tutorials were at least good in some aspect. And when did you get into this?
I would probably have to say maybe a year prior of when Lullaby came out.
Hmm.
Maybe 6 months, because it wasn't just like copy paste. It
Right.
was definitely something like I have a fundamental sound here, and I need to make it my own. And how I did that is Wow Filter. I really feel is what helped me, but also and a lot of people don't like this, but I actually use Serum as a granulizer sometimes,
Hmm.
as where like what I say polishing a turd, because like I can make a crappy sound so good through a granulizer with like some flanger and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Yeah, just I mean don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah, and go out of the way. I mean,
Right,
just because something is meant for something, don't just do it for that. Try things.
right. And I really like when, Minotaur artists or even desktop artists, try to be more, um, what's the word I'm looking for?
Experimental.
Yeah, it's not like a repetitive bass, and
That's
I
true.
mean, I've done it. Heck, my first song was just a repetitive Minotaur bass. It was called I think it was Sacrifice
Hmm.
or Revelation. No, it was definitely Revelation. It was like my first song I ever made, pretty much, a serious song. And again, it had no sub bass. I had no clue what I was doing, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's nice when there's variety to it.
Yeah, and I don't know, it gets tricky. At least I don't know the production aspects of things, but when you listen to stuff, you can only imagine so many ways of making a bass.
Especially when it comes to Minotaur. Like,
Yeah.
I've been seeing um this girl here recently, and like I showed her it, and like in my head, I'm just like, I know it's a repetitive bass. Please don't like say this is annoying or something. It's like there's so much else other to it. You know,
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
showing her Influx, I was showing her Pyre, I was showing her some of my songs. I was like, here's Lullaby. This is, my most known. And um some people I've heard like this is sounds weird, but just to them and
Sure.
stuff, it's just I don't know why. It's so mesmerizing to me for some reason. The metallic harsh basses with like the melodies and stuff. A lot of us, we do the nice choirs or
Hmm.
and the melodies and the nice atmosphere in the background. It's just like there's so much more to it. I just think they're focusing too much on one thing. And I think it's just because they're not a producer. Because like when I'm listening to music, I'm like, oh, this sounds awesome. Mix and master wise, like this, it's so clear, it's so crystal. And a lot of people are just like, yeah, I listen just to the lyrics. I'm like, okay.
Right, right. I think one of the aspects is that some people just don't have the preference for stuff like this. They would rather prefer something which is happier, nicer, I don't know, easier to listen to. Because, you know, I've experienced this that the first time you listen to anything which is even close to minatory or even some, let's say, intense death step, you either love it or you hate it. There's no middle ground.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with that. There has been a couple of times where I have a Minatory desktop uh, radio going
Mhm.
on SoundCloud, and there has been a couple of times where I've been like, man, that's kind of annoying. I gotta skip this one,
Yeah.
and and I hate being that way.
That's all right. I mean, you
I,
get to have your preference, You can't listen to everything.
yeah, right, yeah,
And also that some of the songs are, from a producer's standpoint, it is technically nice, but maybe from a listener's standpoint, it doesn't have much to pay attention to. And it could be the other way around as well. Like a producer might say that that's easy. It's like I could do it in like 2 hours. It's just this and that and that. That's it. And the listeners would be like, it still sounds amazing.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I actually have that problem with my own songs too. I saw where when you messaged me, you said that you really love Anxiety. I
Mhm.
hate Anxiety. I hate it.
why
I
do why
I
do you hate it?
I rushed it for one thing, to get it on Vism Collective,
Mhm.
and I screwed up the mix and master. It's too loud. I accidentally redlined it, and like a lot of my songs where people were like, "Oh, like why don't you like your own songs?" Well, it's like, well, when I was making it, I had to listen to it 1,000 times. I'm
Right.
bored of it already. It's not new to me. It's new to you, not to me. Yeah.
Anxiety, I like the clip. I still like the clip more than the original song. The song kind of got ruined for me.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Like
That's
a
all
lot of
right.
my and I've actually showed people that. I was like, this is how like some of my ideas start out as, and they
Mhm.
change dramatically throughout the process.
Mhm.
Um,
Which is a good thing,
yeah, yeah,
because it shouldn't cripple you, the idea. It should be something that helps you, because the idea alone is not enough to make a song. It sure gives you the initial. motivation to get started. But then a song requires a lot more than just the idea.
Yeah, and a lot of my actually idea of songs are actual feelings that I actually have. A lot of my songs, when I said when I made Dismantled, I
Mhm.
felt dismantled, and I made a song called Lost just before I went to college because like I didn't know what to do with my life, and then I made a song called Dread, and that's like a heavy feeling on yourself, and um, you can actually almost feel the emotion sometimes in them. A lot of my songs have uh, not really lyrics, but like clips of movies, that like kind of weave this um, story to
Right,
them.
right, right.
Um, I think like Dismantled has one in the intro. Um, Lullaby has one in the intro. Drown has one in the intro.
Unworthy even has one, I guess.
Yeah, Unworthy does. Somebody has kind of got me with that before. They were like, "Well, how did you feel when you made Unworthy?" And I was like,
Unworthy.
"Yeah, yeah." Well, I was like, actually, it kind of got me there. I was actually in a pretty happy state of mind when I made that song. Actually,
Oh,
um,
okay.
I think I was making the song. It was actually a scrapped song. Actually, Unworthy is a remade version of Torture, which is an old
Oh,
song of mine.
interesting.
And yeah, and I just kind of tossed those vocals in, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds perfect," So I kept them in there.
So I think you proved yourself wrong saying that you always make stuff which is kind of like a translation of your feeling. So this time it was the opposite. In
Yeah,
a
and
sense.
I mean, it's very rare, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. Good. At least the good thing about all of this is that you get to express your feelings in some or the other form because sometimes it's hard to do it.
Oh yeah, and art is the best way to express your emotions quietly.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it in different, many different ways. Drawing, I sucked at it. I couldn't do that. And so like I remember a long time ago, I think in 2009 or something, I asked my mom if she would give me what was it, like FL7 or something, or 6.
2009. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and like I was like, I want to start making music, and she got it for me for like Christmas or my birthday or something. It was like I don't know, around $200 for like the producer
Your
edition or
mom is
something.
very cool.
Yeah, me and my mom are very close. She is kind of supportive about my music, but she's not. She doesn't listen to it very much. But you
Understandable.
know, yeah. I mean, I do understand that this isn't music for everybody, but it's definitely something that I can't get away from, even though that it's a dying genre. I hate to say.
Uh, I really, really, really hope it doesn't die because that would
I'm.
honestly break my heart.
I mean, it's not dead because there's still some of us out there, but it's not as lively as it used to be in like what 2016.
Which
I
is
think it
okay.
was.
I think uh, a lot of things happened in the genre, especially Minotauri. And I don't know, people have kind of like a bad taste in their mouth for it. Some people do not want to get associated with the word itself. And
Yeah, there's a certain somebody who kind of made me mad, So
Mhm. I mean, things
I'm
like this will happen when you are in a community, I guess, because you can't avoid all kinds of drama at all points of time. Something will happen. But yeah, I guess we just have to keep going.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. Not everybody's gonna like each other, so
True. As long as you can tolerate each other, that's good enough most of the time.
yeah. I mean, it's online. It's not like we all gotta see each other and stuff like that. But
Right, right. But you still have to be like, I don't know, somewhat tolerable of people sharing their stuff and you not going ballistic about saying, you suck, you're bad, I don't want to listen to you, I will block you everywhere. Stuff like that. I mean, people get blocked, that's still okay.
right, yeah. I mean, I've never had to say that, to people. I've had to have people ask me for advice,
Hmm.
and I give it to them, and they just flip out on me. I've had like two
Flip
occasions
out.
where, yeah,
Why?
where they just get upset with me. They're like, "Oh, well, I thought it was sounded really good." Well, I mean, like,
Oh.
you asked for my like professional advice, you know,
Mhm.
like, and I'm trying to help you, and that's what it's for. I love criticism. I love bad criticism. I love it when somebody tells me, you know, um, this didn't sound good here. You need to help. You need this and that and stuff. Like, okay, cool. I'm definitely gonna work on it.
Mhm.
I make a note on it and work really hard to try to change it.
Yeah. I think I'll rephrase what you said there. Bad criticism can be like terrible. It's just criticism can be good. I mean, criticism in itself is negative, right? Because somebody's telling you that this should be changed in some ways for it to make it better. And there are some people who'll just tell you that you suck. You should stop making music. And that is bad criticism to me.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And I don't condone that at all.
Yeah. Constructive criticism, always welcome. Yes.
Oh, yeah, most likely, yeah. And I mean, that's kind of what I meant to say
I
is,
understand that. I just wanted to
it,
rephrase. There will be
right,
people
yeah,
who will
yeah, yeah,
pick things up and they'll be like, "Oh, you said that? I'll quote him." And that was the conversation. And I'm like, seriously, dude, that was not what was meant. So that has
right,
happened before.
yes, yeah.
One thing about your music I really like is you, I don't know, you have a strange way of combining melodies that go with really intense stuff. And if you wanted to kind of separate these two and ask me that they would go together, I would say no, they don't go together, but you somehow make them work. That is interesting. How
It-
did you always do that, or that was something that evolved over the time?
I have always done that. I brought up the song Revelation,
Hmm.
which was like, I think like my second or third song that I made.
Hmm.
And it used the Silent Hill um melody over like
Hmm.
harsh basses, and like I was like, whoa, I don't know how I did that, but it actually goes together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I, you know made my name. Like, I've heard, Misery does the when back when I was Misery does the, choirs and the melody over the harsh basses.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, that's
him.
his thing.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's how you know that. And I've also had people say, the Misery style in the description. And it makes me happy, that people, like, I kind of made my own um structure of Minatory a
Mhm.
little bit. I wouldn't say I'm the creator of it.
Sure, sure.
I don't have evidence on that or anything, but I really love. I started my first ever instrument was a harp. It was a
Mhm.
full size harp.
Like you
Um,
really played it physically?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I picked it up. Yeah, my great aunt. Yeah, my great aunt. Kind of taught me some basics there, and I know. I'm not tone deaf, so I know when I hit a wrong note. I
Mhm.
don't know how to read music or anything, so I would just have to like redo the melody over again and over again until I hit the right notes in a sequence. And so I kind of do that with my own. Now, I can't give myself too much credit because there's been times where most of my melodies are just like piano samples,
Mhm.
but like really um what's the word? Like standard. Like they just sound like piano, but I pitch them down. I put distortion on them. I put some flanger on them. I make them sound completely different. I stretch them out just so they sound dark. Like some of the choirs that I've used were actual like angelic like church choir
Oh,
that like I twisted
into
so much. Yeah, that it sounded, demonic almost.
yeah,
Which I've actually got a little bit of bad reviews on,
because of the
especially people in
religious
real life.
elements.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, like you're into Satanism and stuff like that." Like when I make this stuff, and I'm
Oh
like,
God.
"No, it's more of like, I don't know, it's just a look."
Exactly. It's
I
just
don't
a
do that type
theme.
of stuff. Yeah. I couldn't say any better. It's just a theme. Um, it's just an
Satanism
aesthetic,
makes me laugh,
and
seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not that type of person and stuff.
I
So
mean,
I
if it
mean, it's
was
just
that easy to be a Satanist, I guess we all would be Satanists right now.
right. Yeah, right. It's just like I don't know. It's just it's cool, you know.
Yeah. I just like the aesthetic. I mean, some of my friends have mentioned that it's too dark for them, and I don't know, it doesn't go with my personality. That's what they say, but I'm like, sure, but still, I like it. So, what are you going to do about it?
So that's kind of where I kind of combine the two.
Mhm.
Is I love still listening to ambient electronica like Owzy
Mhm.
and Tom Day, and you know it's kind of weird when I'm taking long car drives. You'll see me switch between ambient and Minatory, and it's just kind of like what the this was like the opposite.
If somebody's in the car with you, they'll be like, dude, are you tripping?
Yeah, so that's kind of where I took the both elements into one. Now it isn't easy because like trying to get the notes right and
Mhm.
sounding right and keeping it kind of still a beautiful melody, but still kind of keeping it dark.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that is kind of where I came to do that.
Nice. I think you are executing that well. So, good job on that.
Thank you.
I also can't help but
Nice to hear.
imagine you like a cupid playing a harp.
With like a death metal shirt on.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
Somebody
mean,
has
yeah,
to
that's
make
how it
art
was.
for this.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be cool.
But I would have to say my first ever song was Revelation
Mhm.
when that happened. Now I did skip, um, I think until Lullaby when I did it again. And then I kind of just always had a piano melody or a choir in
Mhm.
all my music. Rather, there's been rhythm songs that I made that's had choir in it
Oh,
that I kind of,
choir
pitch
rhythm.
down and stuff like that.
I've never heard
Yeah.
anything like that before.
Yeah, I think Scream has choir in the beginning of it. I think that's the only one though, but
Mhm.
I do love having my melodies and choir in most of my songs. It's almost like a must have with me.
Yeah, I get that. So you mentioned rhythm. Have you tried with other genres as well? That's the Minatory rhythm, other stuff.
I have made some deep dubstep.
Mhm.
Uh I love it. I love making it. I love listening to it. I I kind of got discouraged when I didn't get that many plays on it. Um, it was called Promise, and I had so much pride in it, but when I saw like there wasn't that much plays on it, I was kind of like, oh, dang, that released 3 years ago, and it's got 853 on it.
And you release it
When
under Psyfiend?
I released it under Psyfiend, and then I half heartedly make like a rhythm song, and I get like 2,000 plays on it. Like I don't get this stuff, and it's just like maybe it's just the people who are following me just don't kind of like that type of ambient-y,
I don't think they
spacey type
expect it
of
from
dubstep.
you. Probably that.
No, yeah, yeah. That was my first ever time trying to branch off. Uh, yeah, that is my first time ever branching off. Then I made like a crossbreed song.
Mhm.
It got a little bit of a pull. Um, and here recently I've been making a lot more ambient electronica. Now they're all private at the moment because I don't feel like I should release it as a Psyfiend. I almost was gonna make a different SoundCloud for it because Owsey, which is
Mhm.
spelled Owsey, is a huge influence on me. I wish I could make music like him.
Mhm.
He's amazing. If I could, I would, and I'm sure people would hate to hear this, but I would drop Minotaur and Test up to make music like that if I could.
Okay. I mean, nothing wrong in aspiring for what you want, because at the end of the day, you have to keep doing stuff and whatever keeps you going, you should stick with that. Don't uh, don't listen to people who say stick to Minatory. I mean, me being a Minatory fan, I would say that because your happiness is most important.
Right, yeah, and don't get me wrong, mandatory and that is I love it. It's just like I almost feel like, and I'm coming back to what I was saying, like I almost feel like I hit a threshold
Mhm.
on, I can't make something better than Lullaby. I can't.
Maybe you need a
And
break. Who knows?
yeah, and I feel like I did really well with Dismantled,
Mhm.
but it got stolen from me, so it's not on my SoundCloud. So um, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely a lot of blows to me.
that's okay. You're going
That's
strong. Keep going, Scott.
right.
Keep going, Scott. Um, a couple of questions on who you release with. Vism Collective is, I think, your go-to label for things, right?
Mostly, yeah.
So, anything specific about them you like, or other labels that you produce with? Would you like to mention them?
I have in the past when I did a collab with Cybersex and Supercool,
Mm-hmm.
we released on Full Flex Audio. Now that was back when I was Misery, and we released a song called Tunnel Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been on Full Flex, but not as a single. Now I have talked to them and almost got something on there, but he wasn't like happy with the intro, so I kind of was like, okay, I'll try and fix it up, and then I just ended up just putting it on my own SoundCloud and just kind of saying screw it. I didn't want to go jump through a bunch of hoops and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's when I made it was actually a rhythm song. That was uh whenever I have to think of something I forget about it for some reason.
that's all right.
But that was Rage. Um and yeah, the intro is a little bit bland, but rhythm, I don't really know what to do with my intros there, so I kind of make them pretty much bland and work kind of hard on the consistency and of the basses
Mm-hmm.
more so.
Maybe you'll get a VIP one day, which probably gives you the satisfaction of an intro. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, I thought about coming back on some things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of projects have missing files and stuff like that because I one of my hard drives broke, so I had to try and grab as much as I possibly could, and some things are missing and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to do that. I did do that with um, Drown. Drown is actually Massacre remade.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
okay.
I released it on Vism Collective actually, and they wanted me to change the lyrics out of it and the name because they said, that could be offensive to some things, and I complied. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, I actually asked somebody because I actually let the stems out. People were actually remixing Massacre a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew somebody who had it, and I said, "Hey, can you give me those stems back?" So I had to work with stems on my own VIP. So it was, yeah, it was. Well, I wouldn't really call it a VIP, but my own song. I didn't even
You
have
were
the
remixing your
the
own song,
project
let's
files.
say.
Yeah, pretty much. And people did kind of ask, "Isn't this a VIP?" And I'm like, "No, I just redid the song, so just so it can be put out on there." But
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time I'm if I do release on things, I talk to Vism Collective more so, and if I think it's got enough um pull on it, I will talk to Full Flex Audio about it. I don't really care about labels much.
Mm-hmm.
I it's cool and all, but I just like to kind of make music for myself. At least I try to.
Yeah, I mean, you do get distracted by the numbers sometimes from what you've said.
Yeah, 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 and I almost kind of contradict myself a lot because um, at the moment I just don't know where I'm going with it right now. So
That's okay. I mean, we can strive to do what we want to. Sometimes it's okay to get deviated. We are only
oh, most
humans.
definitely. Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is your life outside of music? I mean, you mentioned that you work in IT. Other than that, are you mentally okay? Because you mentioned that there was a lot of stuff going on and
I mean,
other things.
like I'm an open book, so I mean, me. well, when I went to college, before I went to college, me and my ex-fiance kinda had a fallout a little bit. We
Mhm.
kinda separated a little bit, not hanging out as much, and, I was like I told her, I was like, "Hey, like, I wanna go this way.
Mhm.
Like, if you don't wanna come, okay, I understand, but, like, I'm gonna be more happier over here."
Mhm.
And I was like, "I wanna move to the city. I wanna get a job with my degree," which I went to school for cybersecurity.
Ooh.
Um, and, um, I went to college. We slowly started separating. We finally broke up in 2020 in May,
Mhm.
and I haven't spoke to her since. And I was okay for 2 months. One of my friends committed suicide.
Oh.
Um, a little context behind on that is I played World of Warcraft professionally in 2014 to, uh, the end of 2015 a little bit,
Mhm.
and if I don't know if you know this streamer's name, his name is Reckful.
Yes, I know.
Um,
Oh, okay. I actually watched the
yeah,
entire stream. He did a stream with Dr. K, you know?
yes, yep,
So
yep,
I saw
yep,
the entire series of that thing and I was like heartbroken at the end. I was like, after all of this, and he
yeah.
was making progress,
Byron
at least it showed, but it was
I haven't
sad.
spoke to Byron since 2015. Um, he was one of the best WoW players I've ever ran into. We lost to him. He was on, Complexity Red, and I was on Skill Capped East, and we
Mhm.
skirmished a couple of times, and I actually played against him on ladder too. He was one of the most technical players in the game, and when I saw, he committed suicide, I was just I felt I spiraled down into this apathetic depression where I just could not see the light at the end of the tunnel in anything. I didn't finish school. I was like 3 classes away,
Mhm.
and I still am. Um, I didn't pull myself out of it until March of this year. So it started in, July of last year, and I didn't do anything. I stayed at my mother's house, up throughout the whole night. I didn't make any music. I just tried to play video games to, like, keep my mind busy and out of
Distracted.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't working. I finally one of my buddies owns, like, a little restaurant, and he was like, "Come work with me, man." And I was like, "Oh, that'd be really good," kinda keep my mind off from things. So that kinda helped me out a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, then he didn't need me anymore, and it kinda went back. But one day, I was just like, "I'm done being sad." I remember it being, like, 4 in the morning or something. I just got done playing some games with my cousin. He
Mhm.
wasn't working either at the time, but he was in between jobs. And, I was like, "I'm gonna I'm gonna work on my resume." I did it,
Uh-huh.
put it out, and I got emails by emails by emails of people, and I was like, "Okay, like, I can pick jobs," like, and this one is up in the city that I wanna be in,
Mhm.
and I applied for it. I got chose over 5 people,
Mhm.
and I was happy, and I was like, My life's going good now. I'm back on track. I'm back where I wanna be now," you
Mhm.
know? And, I'm generally happy with myself, and, I mean, I still am, I'm on my own, and, um, my job's okay. It's definitely somewhere where I wanna be. It's not like a job where, I just kinda have to go with it. I mean, it's IT. I've been doing IT for about 15 years now. I own my own business, computer repair, and I do modding, and,
Mhm.
um, I build PCs and stuff like that, so it's nice. It's nice. So, yeah, I was down, um, but I brought myself out of it myself. There is different types of depressions now. I did talk to, like, a psychiatrist, and then,
Mhm.
he diagnosed me, and, he was like, "You can take medication, but you can also get out of this yourself, but it
Right.
takes a little bit longer." And
Yeah.
I was like, "I would really like to do this myself."
Good job on
And
that.
yeah, and, it took a long while. But I actually got back with him, and he was ecstatic for me. I was like, dude, I got a job, a good one, a government job. I moved to the place I want to go.
Mhm.
And I do hate to say it, but like, even though I haven't, like, my ex fiance has moved on, and she's with somebody else and
Mhm.
stuff like that, she does haunt my dreams a lot, and it does suck because I thought I was gonna be with that person for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm sure your therapist will have something for the dreams.
Yeah, it just comes randomly. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, after I wake up, I'm like, why was she there? Like, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely in a good spot now.
Happy for you. You
Thanks.
definitely did go through a lot of stuff. I mean, for a second, I was like, I'm not sure how to feel about this.
Yeah, when Byron, passed, I was just like, man, he was such a smart person, and he had millions of dollars. He was going places, but
Mhm.
we all fight these hidden
Demons.
demons.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody knew that, and I really feel like I shouldn't say this, but he was borderline person. He had personality issues. He didn't know who his friends were and stuff, and he was really just battling that. And I mean, it overwhelmed him, and I really hate it. I really hate that he's gone. Still screws me up to this day.
Mhm. I think the entire community took a hit.
Oh yeah,
Not blaming
yeah.
him for anything, sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay, our discussions got into really dark
yeah. You
mode.
want emotions? You
Yeah.
got him.
I usually try not to get into these because I don't know, I am very interested in mental health related stuff. I mean, I watch Dr. K for entertainment, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I love that guy. Yeah, I like watching
Yeah.
him.
So, but from these discussions, there are a lot of, I don't know, younger audience in the Minatory scene and the Death Step scene. So I'm not sure how this will be taken. So people, please take care of yourselves. That's all I want to say.
That brings up a good point. A lot of us, I remember being at one time when I think it was 2017,
Mm.
it was still kind of thriving. I talked to a lot of artists and we all had the same issues.
And
We were
what do you
all
mean by same issues?
like, I wouldn't say the complete same. I meant like we were all
Similar.
sad.
Yeah.
We weren't happy with what we were doing with our
Oh,
lives.
okay.
We were, most of us didn't have jobs. We were using video games to escape reality and
Hmm.
stuff. And um and a lot of us just kept each other,
Company.
yeah, kept each other company, and it's just, yeah, it's a lot of us are have some form of depression for some reason. And I mean, heck, that could be just musicians in general, because that's just an escape in how we express our feelings.
I
you
guess.
know
I
um
mean, I know happy
it can't.
musicians as well who just make it because they like it, and it's not necessarily anything. I mean, Concave Theater said it really well. He's like, I'm not depressed. I'm totally normal guy. I just like this music.
Right, right. And I mean, I wouldn't say that, like, when I was depressed, I didn't make music at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that was inconvenient, which I wouldn't call making music inconvenient, but there's been times where I was just like, I make an idea, then I can't get any farther with it, and I'm just like, screw it.
Yeah.
I'm not finishing this, and I don't even save it. And that
Ah,
was kind of what I was doing most of the time, and I was like, it's just a waste of time. That's just what I thought about everything. It's just a waste of time.
what's the
And
point of anything?
yeah, and that's where I said it was an apathetic depression, because apathetic meaning,
Mm-hmm.
nothing has a point to it.
Right.
And um I mean, I definitely made music when I was sad, but I wouldn't really call it depressed. Like, if I was just sad about something, or I just felt this weird emotion and I just wanted to kind of express it, you know. So
Yeah, good that you did. One thing that actually struck me about this entire community was when I wasn't very involved in the community. I have been listening to this music for almost 6 years now, but I only got involved since 2018, late 2018, 2019. and thanks to hydraulic, obviously. But when I got into the discords,
Right.
they all of the discord servers had depression channels, and I was like, what's up with that? I mean, why do you need a depression specific channel for every server, not just one or two? And that's when it hit me that actually there are people who are using that, and you could like go through the conversations, and then sometimes it would become like this, I don't know, a marsh of bad stuff that you just can't get out of because you're stuck in a conversation and it's going nowhere. You just have to, sometimes you just say, I'm done being sad, or I'm done with this conversation, I guess. And
Right, right. And I didn't believe that ever. Like people, cause were like saying like, it's you that can get yourself out of depression. You don't need medication and stuff. Now, I'm not saying that for everybody,
mhm.
because
Right, there
everybody's
are different
different.
scenarios, yeah.
There's chemical imbalances now. Mine wasn't a chemical imbalance. Mine was a situation. I can't remember the exact thing that that guy said. Um,
Mhm.
I could probably pull it up, but it does, it doesn't
That's
really
okay, that's
matter. But
okay.
it's in the past for me. But and you know, that's all it took was just me finally realizing at that moment, I don't want to be sad anymore. I can change it. I can get what I want.
Mhm.
It's not going to come to me. That's all it took was that small step. All I did was just make a resume. That was it. And now I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the point of it all is, I don't know, there is no point, so you might as well do things.
Right, yeah. You miss all the shots you don't take.
Yeah, true, true. And I can actually relate to that statement that you said you were done being sad. I did not go through anything similar, but at least I had a phase of about 6 months or so when I would at least say I was depressed compared to my normal self. And I was like, I can't. I used to go to work. I didn't do the work. I mean, I was just there doing things like a robot, coming back, doing stuff to distract myself. And then one day I was like, sure, I'm done doing this. It's just, it's too much, not happening anymore. And that was just that one day. And all of a sudden things changed. It was weird, to be honest.
Yeah, and if somebody would have told me like that's just all it takes, I would have been like, no, yeah,
The
right.
laugh on their face, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, I want people to understand that,
Yeah.
especially people in the mandatory community, you know, because like we both agree, there's a lot of sadness and depression within this subgenre for some reason.
Sure, the themes don't help. I mean, you are making stuff which is morbid and which is kind of like related to death and dying and sadness and all those kind of stuff. But you do have to remember that this is supposed to be a good thing for you and not something that causes you to, you know, spiral back into yourself.
Yeah, and it was kind of ironic after I made Dismantled. I was kind of expressing my feelings on the situation with my ex fiance and just like how I felt at the time and stuff.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
wasn't. I wouldn't say I was completely depressed when I first started making it. There was a big hole um, until I finished it. I didn't touch it for a really long while. But like my mom even like heard the intro and was like, "That was disgusting." You know, like
Yeah.
why? And like I always tell people like it's I would never do that. That's not exactly what I was thinking.
Hmm.
It's just a story.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure people out there could relate to it. My ex fiance didn't cheat on me. She didn't profess that she you
Hmm.
know had sex with some dude and loved it. Like what
Yeah.
Dismantle says. And we just had a mutual split.
Hmm. Did you get questions around that, like questions that people shouldn't be asking because of that?
Some like people that actually knew me that listened to it, yeah, they'd be like, "Are you okay?" Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, like you're not like gonna do any of this stuff, and I'm like, "No, no, no, no." Like, no, it's just that's just the theme of it. It's just a song, you
Yeah.
know. Um, I was, I mean, I could have been on that mad of a level, I guess, because the person beats up the woman, drags her. ties her up, she's
Yeah, yeah,
crying, and you start hearing a chainsaw, and you don't hear her crying anymore.
yeah.
So, um, maybe I was kind of mad after a little while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my emotions definitely did change because I did feel all right after it for about 2 months. But I guess I started thinking about it a little too hard.
Mhm. And she's still haunting your dreams. You got to do something about that, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. It was even last night.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just like, I was like, what? Like, why? I haven't talked to her for a year,
Mhm.
so
I hope you figure that out.
yeah, me too, because it's quite annoying.
Yeah. And let's get back to, I don't know, neutral space. You your last release was 11 months ago on SoundCloud, and you said you have a lot of stuff that you're working on. Can we expect a release from you anytime soon?
Well, Dismantled was supposed to be my, you know,
Next release?
yeah, it was like to hold people over a little while. I do have a couple of things started, and then I also have the collab with Wide Eyes coming out pretty
Oh
soon,
yeah, yeah.
as well, and that was gonna kind of hold people over as well. But yeah, most definitely, I'm gonna be having some releases now. They probably won't be full. They'll probably only be like maybe I don't know 2 minutes at most. I usually don't do full songs.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just gonna be a slow process because my life's a little busy at the moment.
That's okay, as long as you're not quitting altogether.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think I will ever. I don't think I will ever like quit.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. And I think that is enough to keep people waiting for you and expecting stuff. I mean, you said that you want to hold them off. Just telling them that you have not gone is enough, I think, for people who care.
And I have been making music. I have two ambient like songs that I've made that are like happy songs.
Happy
Um,
songs, yeah.
yeah, and they're just private. On my SoundCloud at the moment. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with them.
Mhm.
I feel like it'd be really confusing.
Demonize them
Uh,
somehow.
yeah, it'd be a really confusing release. It'd be like, oh, Psyfiend, and then it's just like, what the? This is like,
Happy Psyfiend? What's up?
yeah, yeah.
Is
What's
this a
going on
parallel
here?
universe?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've still been making music, just not in the mandatory portion. But don't get me wrong, I do have a couple started at the moment
Mhm. That's okay.
because there,
That's
there are
okay.
there are there are times at the end of the day where I'm like, man, I want to just go hard on you know a song. I
Yeah.
just want it to be brutal.
Let's polish
So
this turd.
right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That that's literally my motto.
there's definitely something satisfying after a long, hard day of work, and then you come back and do something that you actually feel like doing. That's very refreshing.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are times, and I also get inspiration from listening to people as well. Like, I might run into a new artist, and I'd be like, oh, like that really gets me into wanting to go home and start a project.
Yeah. Who are you listening to these days?
Um,
You mentioned
I have to
Pyre
look
once.
I have to look in my likes at the moment. There's a okay. I don't know how to say this guy's name. But his name is Arioch. Arioch.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Ariok. I think that's how I say it
yeah,
too.
yeah, Arioch. Yeah, I ran into him recently. I ran into Corpse Thorn.
Oh yeah, that
Um,
guy. He does
yeah, Devout.
dungeon like really good.
Yes, I love it for some reason. There's
Yeah.
like when I have like that feeling. It's just I want it to be like. And what's weird is it's like a quiet. It's like really quiet and
It's
stuff, but it's like
tense. It's
really
quiet.
yeah.
I don't know. It's
It's
like
really
something is lurking in the background and it's about to attack. It feels like
yeah.
that to me.
Yeah, and I like it. It's nice sometimes, I might try that like, you know, I wouldn't really call it a genre, but like that kind of sound design,
Yeah.
sometime in the future. Give my own spin on it sometime.
Hmm.
Um, then I also ran into Devouring Annihilation,
Hmm.
um, Colossal,
Good names.
um, Yeah, and then
These guys are
Canary.
underrated. So underrated.
Yeah, and Dust as well.
Yeah. I think Dust
Recently.
was something else before. I don't remember.
Um, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember who he used to be.
I actually spoke with a friend who mentioned the name, and I was like, "Oh, that guy is Dust now." Never mind. I'll put that in the description again. A lot of memory stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Maz Game. He was Maz Game.
No, I think he was another name as well.
Oh, really? I knew him as Maz Game a long time
Because I
ago.
don't remember the name you mentioned, so or maybe I'm misremembering. That is also possible.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there. I can't necessarily put my finger on the people I'm listening to because I just like I'll pick a song out,
Mhm.
um, and then hit radio station, and then it will just start playing people who are
Mhm.
near it, and like I'll be like, oh wow, this is actually really cool, and then I'll like listen to it. And I actually kind of play a game in my car whenever I have the radio playing. Like if I have like a Pyre song and I
Mhm.
play like the radio station, it plays a lot of the people that I'm friends with, or I've listened to a long time.
Uh-huh.
And I'll play a game with myself, be like, oh, that's so and
Let's
so, and
guess
then
who is this? Yeah.
yeah, and then like I
I
know
play
that
that game
sound
too.
yeah, it's like I know who sound design that is, and and just kind of play a game, and to
Yeah.
kind of pass the time.
And it's so hard sometimes. It's like, I mean, to me, I have this specific playlist that I listen to almost every day. And sometimes I can't even recognize the song that is in there. And I've listened to it for like 5 years. And I'm like, I know that song. I just can't remember the name now.
Right.
It's funny. Well, I think we've taken a lot of your time. So thank you so much for being here. And the last thing I would want to end on before I get to ask you a question is what is your message to the community if you had to say anything to the listeners or producers or anybody in between?
I probably have to go back to what I said earlier, because like I've been itching to tell people this as a whole, not just like a one-on-one basis. It's just like you just gotta keep trying, and I know, don't be afraid to reach out and base your stuff off from like others. I
Mhm.
know everybody's like, oh, I want to sound like this guy or this guy or this guy. You
Mhm.
can, but make your own like make your own basis out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing that my whole life. I skateboarded uh, for about 16 years now, and the only reason why I got good is because I became friends with the big dogs at the skate park,
Mhm.
and started um, kind of doing what they were doing, kind of repeating what they were doing. Whenever they were trying a new trick, I'd be like, "Oh, let me try it with you,"
Mhm.
and I was kind of following their steps. And then once I got comfortable, I started doing my own things. Now
Right.
that's kind of what I kind of did with music too. Um, Now, I mean, I didn't release things that like sounds like this person or that person.
Right.
You don't want to sound
Too much like
like
someone.
yeah you don't yeah, we that's what's really cool, and that's what kind of grabs my attention is when it's something original. Now, in today's world, that might be a little bit hard because everybody's making music and stuff like that. But just that little try to be original
Mhm.
is really cool to me. So just keep grinding, to keep practicing. Don't be afraid to you know check up some tutorials or even ask friends. People message me all the time. I'll be glad to try to help you find your way.
Thank you for that. That sure helps at least some people, if not everybody. And last thing, did I miss anything? Would you like to touch upon anything that I did not talk about?
I actually feel like we almost touched bases on everything almost.
Nice. I did my job well then.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we kind of went off the beaten path sometimes, but that's me with conversations.
I
So,
like that kind of conversations because planned conversations, I don't know. I mentioned that I don't like fabricated stuff, and anything that is too, I don't know, on the path kind of feels fabricated. So I like that deviations.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of worried. Like I got home driving like an hour and a half, and like as soon as I sat down, we got in a call. And I was like, I didn't make notes. I didn't do anything.
I
Like
didn't do
it's almost
homework.
yeah, yeah. I felt like I was coming home to a test. Like I was like I didn't practice.
I hope I didn't
But
make
yeah.
you feel like that.
Oh no, no. I mean this has been very relaxing conversation and something I've looked forward to ever since you brought it up. So
Thank you. I mean, I've been meaning to talk to you for a while, so this is a good job for both of
oh
you
yeah,
and me. So,
right. Yeah, I was about to say for both parties. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'll leave you with that then, and you have a good rest of the weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, bye.
So that was Psyfiend, and wow, that conversation. Wow. Those are the kind of conversations I really like when things actually get into the weeds a little bit because like I said, I prefer raw stuff. I mean, there's a reason I like Minotaur, you know. It's all raw and not that polished. It's polished to an extent, but not completely. And conversations, I like my conversations like that too. So I hope you took something out from that conversation. And please, people, if you are having problems, if you are feeling that you are in a bad place, ask for help. Your friends, your parents, your therapist, call anybody, ask for help. Sometimes you don't even need to talk to people who you know. Maybe talk to a stranger on online. Just be mindful of who you are interacting with though. And yeah, take care of yourselves. That's all I want to say. And for now, that's it. See you in the next one. Bye bye.